Now, if you're in the self-improvement space or you're on self-improvement, then you've probably heard by now that bad habits are having a negative impact on your life. Bad habits are really stopping you from becoming the person you want to be. Your bad habits are really hindering your ability to make progression on self-improvement. You know, whatever your bad habits are, this really is subjective to you. Your bad habits might not be the same as my bad habits, and vice versa. So it's no secret that you need to try and overcome these bad habits. You need to try and stop doing these bad habits. You need to turn these bad habits into good habits. But how do you actually go about doing that? Because sometimes it's not as simple as just stopping. Sometimes it's not as easy as you just stopping these bad habits. Well, there is actually quite a good way for you to go about doing this. Now, I was watching a video yesterday and I'll link it in the description because this is exactly where I got this concept from. It was a video of Andrew Huberman. You might have heard of him. He's a well-known neuroscientist and professor out of Stanford University, I believe. And he was explaining how you can really turn your bad habits into good habits. And this is backed by science. It's not bro science. There's actual evidence and research behind this concept. And this concept is for you to associate pain with bad habits and associate pleasure with the good habits. Now think about this, bro. Why do you indulge in these bad habits? Video games, porn, drinking alcohol, smoking weed. Why do you indulge in these bad habits? It's because they're pleasurable. It's because they give you pleasure. They give you that dopamine hit. Your brain will always naturally just want to pursue pleasure. It will always want to take the path of least resistance and just indulge in pleasure. It's just a natural thing for our brains to do as humans. So obviously this is why we indulge in these bad habits. And because there's so much pleasure behind these bad habits, it's very difficult for you to kick them. And it's very difficult for you to just stop doing them. Just like that. It's not simple at all. So this concept of associating pain with your bad habits can actually really help you stop indulging in these bad habits. So how do you associate pain with bad habits? Well, I'll give you an example, right? If you have a rubber band on your wrist, and you snap that band every time you indulge in that bad habit. Every time you pick up your phone to start procrastinating, every time you realize that you're sat there scrolling on social media for too long, snap yourself. Very quickly, your brain is going to associate that pain on your wrist with the bad habit. You know, you pick up the phone or you turn on the Xbox, you snap your wrist. You get that hit of pain. And disclaimer, I'm not telling you to harm yourself. But if you can find a way, and it doesn't have to be the rubber band method. If you can find a way to associate pain with the bad habits, very quickly your brain is going to pick up on these. And very quickly it's going to send a signal to yourself for you to stop indulging in these bad habits as often as you do. Now on the flip side of that, you need to start associating pleasure with the good habits. Again, figure out your own way for you to do this. Reward yourself when you've done a few hours of deep work. Reward yourself with something small that gives you a little bit of pleasure. It could be a piece of food. It could be something for you to eat. It sounds very basic and it sounds very simple, but bro, we do this with dogs. If we want to teach a dog to sit, if we want to teach a dog to do a trick, we give that dog a treat as a reward for doing that trick. That's how the dog learns how to do that trick, because it associates pleasure with doing that trick, so it does that trick more often. And again, it sounds like a very simple concept, but it is. And obviously there's a lot more science behind this, and it's to do with your neurochemistry and your dopamine receptors and things like that, but I'm not going to go into that, bro. I'm not a scientist. I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible for you boys out there that are trying to level up in life, but your bad habits are holding you back and you need a way for you to stop doing these bad habits. Well, this is how you do it. Associate pain with these bad habits and associate pleasure with your good habits. These bad habits can be very powerful and they're going to have a strong hold on your life. And sometimes you might not even realize that you're doing these bad habits. He also goes on to explain another way that you can try and stop doing these bad habits, which I personally don't think is as effective, but you can try this as well. Immediately after you do this bad habit, go and do a good habit straight away, straight after. For example, if you're trying to do some deep work and you find yourself picking up your phone and again, you're procrastinating, put your phone down and go and do a good habit. Don't go back to the deep work, do a different habit, something else. Go and get a glass of water to hydrate yourself. Go and meditate for 5 to 10 minutes. But this all comes down to you having that level of self-awareness, because you need to realize when you're doing that bad habit. You need to realize what part of your brain is functioning at that time of you doing that bad habit. What this actually does is takes you out of that loop that negative feedback loop of you just carrying on doing the same thing, carrying on doing that bad habit. It takes your mind off that bad habit. It takes your mind away from that negative feedback loop. It puts your mind in a positive state, and it puts your mind in that state of doing something good, of doing a good habit. Now this kind of contradicts what I was saying about rewarding a bad habit, and it does sound kind of counterintuitive, but again bro, there's science to back this. From my understanding, what you're trying to do here by doing this is changing the nature of that script for that bad habit. But at the end of the day bro, I really do think it just comes down to you having that level of self-awareness and realizing what you're doing in the moment of you doing it. If you can really take control of your bad habits and get a grip of them and stop them as quickly as you possibly can, that will help you moving forward in life. That will help you with self-improvement. That will help you level up in life as a young man. Watch this video right here to help you on your self-improvement journey. Subscribe to the channel and join a brotherhood of young men leveling up in life. I'm making it my mission to help turn boys into men.